Hey guys, welcome back to another NFL video. Today we're going to be talking about the AFC North. We have already done all of our NFC videos, so if you missed any of those, go back and take a look at those. Today we're going to do the AFC North. We're going to go through each team's schedule, their win totals, look at the Vegas numbers, see if there's any division bets or any sort of futures bets that we can be making in any of these divisions, and we will answer the question, who will be last in this very competitive division again this year? Will it be the Browns? Will it be someone else? Or will the Ravens continue to dominate this division? All right, guys, so we are going to start with the division champions from last year, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to make any secret of it. I think the Ravens team is the best team in the NFL. They are so stacked, maybe a little bit weak at wide receiver, although, I'm a huge fan of their receiving core. I just think they don't utilize it. I did say that Lamar was going to be passing more than ever this year, and I was right about that. But he's still never going to provide like an elite passing offense, and they don't have like an elite pass catching option. But I do like Zay Flowers a lot. He's just he's short, so he's never going to have that like X wide receiver, like status. But I just do think this team is so stacked. So last year they went 12-5. They were the division champions. They've been to the playoffs the last several years in a row. Obviously, they've also won a Super Bowl recently, but not with this current team, like these current players. They swept the Bengals. They traded with the Steelers and the Browns, and they did beat 8 playoff teams last year. This year, they're only facing 7 playoff teams, so I actually think their schedule got a little bit easier, but it's not getting to the playoffs that we're talking about. Of course, the Ravens are going to get to the playoffs. It's can they win in the playoffs? So that's going to be the big question. Last year, I chose the Bills from the AFC side to go to the Super Bowl, and I had the Eagles on the NFC side. This year, I'm choosing the Ravens and the Lions. So we'll see how that works out for us. Let's just get into this schedule here. Now, there has not been a three-peat in this division as the division champion since the 1990s. So that would break a 20-year tradition if the Ravens can do that again, but I think that they have a really good shot at doing that. Now, if you've seen my other NFL videos, don't grumble about the exact wins and losses that I'm putting on the schedule. We are not trying to pick the exact outcomes of each game. That's something we can do during the season, week to week. But what we're trying to do is find like a median win total so that we can see if there's any edge with that Vegas line. So, they had 4 division wins last year. I'm going to keep them at 4 division wins this year. That division's tough, but the Ravens are also pretty tough. So I'm just going to give them all the home wins and then an extra win against the Browns. The Ravens played 10 playoff teams last year. This year they're playing 7. They won 8 of those 10 games against playoff teams that they played last year. So they won most of those games. This year, I'm going to give them the bigger side of the split because they were so dominant last year. So 4 wins, 3 losses for the Ravens against the playoff teams. Now, there's only 4 teams left on the schedule, and the Ravens should be able to easily beat all 4 of these teams. I'm going to give them 1 loss just to be on the safe side because with a team that's so good, we're trying to establish a floor. So I'll give them 1 loss and 3 wins to those 4 teams. This leaves the Ravens at 11 wins. I do think the Ravens could win up to 2 more games here, and they could lose maybe 1 more game. So that gives us a range of 10 to 13. The Vegas line is 11.5. So that is very, very tempting, but we're not getting any plus money for it. It's juiced, so I'm going to stay away from it for now, but I will definitely be placing some bets on the Ravens. The Bengals, they're an exciting offense to watch, but they have to rely on that offense to win their games. So they didn't upgrade their defense this year, so it's going to be the same story. If they can win those high-scoring games, they'll go to the playoffs, and if they can't, then they won't. So this has been a big problem for them. They're running back exactly the same team on offense and defense. So they had 3 division wins last year. I'm just going to give them those same 3 wins again. Of the remaining teams on their schedule, there's only 5 playoff matches from last year. 4 of them are right in a row. So the Bengals only beat 1 playoff team last year. Pretty rough. I'm going to give them the short end of that split. So I'm going to give them 2 wins, 3 losses there. The Jaguars, Panthers, Bears, they're all ascending teams. The Dolphins is a descending team, in my opinion. The Jets are the Jets, so I mean they always find a way to lose games, and the Cardinals are just perennially bad. So out of these group of 6, these mid to bad teams, I'm going to give the Bengals 4 wins and 2 losses because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt there with their high-powered offense. So this puts the Bengals at 9 wins. The Vegas line is at 9.5, so right on the dot. I can see the Bengals winning another game, maybe 2, but I can also see them losing another game. So I think this is just a great line from Vegas. I think it's going to trap a lot of people. I think a lot of people are going to bet this Bengals over, and they just somehow find some way to disappoint and land exactly on 9. So I'm staying away from this line. The Steelers were my dark horse candidate to win the Super Bowl before the season started last year. I like Justin Fields. I have said that I've liked Justin Fields ever since he was on the Bears. I thought the Bears never should have traded him. And I'm in the minority there. I understand. People hate Justin Fields. They don't think he's that good. He does have a turnover problem, but I'm a big fan. So when the Steelers got him, I was excited about it. And I knew they had an elite defense. I picked them as a dark horse candidate to go to the Super Bowl. They did make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they did not get to the Super Bowl. So we did not cash that bet. But this year, last year they had a pretty easy schedule. This year they don't, and their defense is getting older. They're in a contract dispute with TJ Watt, so I don't know what's going to go on there, but they're kind of a hot mess right now. And I'm definitely not a believer in Aaron Rodgers at this age. So I'm not sure why Aaron Rodgers wants to play for the Steelers when he could have gone and played for the Saints or some other team in a bit easier division that he could still win. But I know the Steelers needed him because they need somebody to just throw the ball and not turn over the ball very often. And that will get them to their 500 record that they've been getting for like the last decade. So last year, the Steelers had 3 division wins. I'm going to give them 3 again this year, but I think it's going to be tough for them. There's still 5 playoff teams on their schedule left from last season. And last season, they were able to win half of those matchups due to their awesome defense. So I'm going to give them half of those wins again, although I am going to give them the shorter end of that half. And then on the easier teams, we'll give them the bigger end of the split to make up for it. So with the mid to bad teams, we'll give them 4 wins, 2 losses instead of 3 and 3. So this leaves the Steelers at 9 wins. The Vegas line is 8. I can see them losing up to 2 more games than this and winning up to 2 more games with this. So that's a 7 to 10 range. Normally, I would stay away from this line, but I'm seeing it at plus money. So you know me, I love the plus money bets. So plus 100 on BetMGM right now, where it's juiced everywhere else. So if that's still there when you're seeing this video, I think that's a pretty good bet. I mean, they could definitely miss it, but for plus money, the risk is worth it, in my opinion. I'm not in a state where I can bet like win totals and futures and things like that. So I go out of town to make those bets. And so the next time I go out of state, which should be here soon, I'll make that bet if it's still there. If it's not there, then it's not there. But I'm definitely placing that bet. And then the Browns, 3-14 last season, swept by the Bengals. They traded with the Ravens. I wrote the Browns here, but they traded with the Ravens and the Steelers. They had 1 non-division win, and it was against a bad team. So I don't see anything really good in the stars for the Browns this year. I do think Shedeur Sanders will start at least 3 games. His line is 2.5 games to start. I do think he's going to start at least 3 games, but I don't know if he'll start week 1. I've already said that I think either Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders will end up on the Saints by this time next year. So if that goes through, just remember I said it first. Anyway, it's hard to be a bad team in a good division because you'll always be at the bottom, and that's exactly the Browns situation. They've never been able to make a push from the bottom. They've drafted quarterbacks, like tons of quarterbacks. None of them have ever worked out. Now they have the Steelers' old quarterback, Kenny Pickett, who I'm not a big fan of. And they have 6 really hard games out of the gate. The Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers. I mean, that's crazy. They just have the worst starting schedule. So whoever starts at quarterback is going to have a tough time and probably get benched, after like the 4th or 5th game, if they lose. And then, anyway, last year the Browns had 2 division wins. We're trying to find a ceiling because with bad teams, we try to find a ceiling. Like, what's the absolute most games we think they could win? So, since they did have those 2 division wins last year, I'm going to give them 2 division wins again. There's 4 playoff teams on the schedule, plus the 49ers, who should be a playoff team this year. So, of those 4, I'm going to give the Browns 1 win and 3 losses. I think that's the best they could do. And then the rest of the teams are mid to bad. So I think the best we can hope for is a 50-50 split here. I'm going to give them 3 wins, 3 losses against those mid to bad teams. So that puts us at a ceiling for the Browns at 6. The Vegas line is 5.5. I could see the Browns winning 1 more game if they really just were better than we think, and losing up to 2 more games. So the line is at plus money to the over right now and heavily juiced to the under. But, I came up with 6. The line's 5.5. That's not enough for me to take that plus money. So I'm just going to stay away from this. If we knew who the quarterback was going to be, then maybe I would be a little bit more comfortable taking this. If they said that it was going to be Kenny Pickett, I would not bet this. If they said it was going to be Shedeur Sanders, I might bet this. Because I know that there was a lot of drama with Shedeur in the draft and things like that, but I watched him play in college, and I know he wasn't playing like the best teams necessarily. He wasn't going up against Bama and Georgia all the time, but he is a good passer. He's a really good passer. So I do think he's going to end up winning the job, and I think they could actually win a couple games if they have him as the quarterback, if they can protect him, because they were not able to protect their quarterbacks last year. And then, so my best bets, guys, I have 1 best bet for the AFC North. That is the Steelers over their win total for plus 100, over 8.5 wins. I would not take this bet for minus money or even money. The plus money is the thing that's getting me over this win total, because I see their range at 7 to 11. So it really could end up anywhere in between there. And I will take the risk for the plus money. It's Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe in him, but the Steelers obviously do. And I don't think he's bad, so I just think he can get him that 500 schedule at least. So it shouldn't be too hard for him to get that. I do have some sprinkle bets on this division. Now, I told you at the beginning of the video, I already have the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. I saw that at plus 650. I believe it's gone up to 700. I would take it, man. I think this is the Ravens' time to win the Super Bowl. And why do I think that? Well, because I think that they're going to come out week 1 and punch the Bills in the mouth. And the Chiefs, I'm worried the Chiefs won't even win their division. I mean, we'll get to that when we talk about the AFC West video, but I think the Chiefs will be playing for a wild card spot, and I think they will get it, but I don't know. I just think the Chiefs might not make it to the Super Bowl this year. And if they don't, in my mind, it's either the Bills or the Ravens. And overall, if I had to say who has a better team, the Bills or the Ravens, it would be the Ravens, guys. I do think Josh Allen's great. You can ask anyone. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. I had the Bills going to the Super Bowl last year. I'm constantly in arguments with one of my best friends about whether Josh Allen is better or whether Patrick Mahomes is better. So I'm a Bills fan, but I just think it's the Ravens' time. So that's who I'm picking to go to the Super Bowl for plus 650. You can get a better price than I did right now. And then I have some first 5 bets. So Browns to have 0 wins through the first 5 games is plus 340. To just get no wins. Remember, they had that. If we look back at their schedule, they have those 6 incredibly tough games to start the season. The Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers. So I think that they could possibly win one of those games. Maybe they come out and kick the Bengals really hard in the first week, because we know the Bengals always start slow. So I'm also betting it at 1 win through the first 5 games at plus 170. So, if I hit the 0 wins, obviously I'll win big. If I hit the 1 win, that will cover my bet with a little bit of profit left over from the 0 win bet. So I like those. I found those on DraftKings. I don't know if they're available anywhere else necessarily. It would shock me if the Browns won 2 of those first 5 games. Like, I'd be blown away if they could win 2 of those games. So that's it, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. My picks are always free to you, no matter how big this channel gets. So I appreciate the small free things that you can do for me. Just hit that like button, comment down below. Let me know if you think I'm full of crap or if you agree with me. And share this video with your friends, anyone who might be interested, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.